Hello everybody. Today is May the 13th, and we thought we'd just show you real quick how we're going to plant some onion plants, which I bought. These are actually from Burpee. I love Burpee stuff because it's very reliable. I just wish they'd cut down on the shipping. So if anybody works for Burpee sees that, maybe I'd buy more from them if it was cheaper to ship. But anyways, this is actually our first real experiment other than our grass with no dig in a new spot. So as you can see behind me, John and I put the fence up to hopefully keep the deer out of this area. And so I took the corner and I, of course, put the cardboard down, and most of it's like overlapped. So make sure there's no holes. And then I just took my compost, and I'd say probably 4 inches on average of compost on these little short rows. And so we're gonna try it with our onions, and I might come back in between the onions or on the side and plant some corn to see how it does. And so it's a great, I guess that's part of our title is experiment, right? So this is my first experiment with backyard gardening. Thanks to people like Charles Dowding and the Lazy Gardener in Tennessee and others. But I think it's great if you don't have to till the soil, which is hard as it is for new ground, but then you're leaving the microbes and all the stuff, the community that you can't see in the soil alone. It's great. So we'll see how this works, and we'll see how good my compost is. So it is probably a little late for us to be planting onions, but I think they'll do okay. It's better to plant onions like probably before your first frost date a little bit, because I don't think, someone can correct me, but I'm pretty sure mine have never got burnt too bad in just a frost. Now a hard freeze, that might do something, but we keep onions growing on our deck all year long. I think it was January till they really got frosted. But my bunching onions that are in a pot, we just kept cutting on. In fact, they're still there, and they're seeding this year. So anyways, I did a lot of research, and I found out something that I didn't know, is that I've been planting bulbs forever when I want regular onions. And I've never really got big bulbs, and I sort of like, how do I get big bulbs? How do I get big bulbs? And so from what I understand is planting onion bulbs that you can buy almost anywhere in the spring. They just don't grow big onions, but they say plants grow much bigger onions. Well, it was too late for me to plant onion seeds at this point. I will plant some and put them in like late August for a fall crop, but I know I needed to get into the ground, so I bought these from Burpee. All you do is, you don't even make a hole, I just stick them in the ground, then cover them up till they stand up, just like that. And since this is compost, I'm packing a little bit because there's a lot of air in that soil. It's really, if you could feel it, it's like almost like a tight sponge kind of feel. I love to feel this thing. And so I just go down this row. 4 to 6 inches. They don't have to be that far apart. Just give them enough space for the bulb to grow. We're excited because we're starting to get some comments on our videos, which I love. And I think I've commented back on everybody that's put something on there. And if you see me doing anything that you think's incorrect or I could do better, I love constructive criticism. And I also love questions. If I didn't answer something that you're curious about, whether it be about planning or about John and I or whatever, without getting too personal, of course, we'll talk to you. We love that. Make sure you like our videos. Subscribe if you want to see more. My son John is the one that we give all the credit to for the editing for the videos. Without him, this wouldn't be on there at all, trust me. Or it would be something you wouldn't want to watch, for sure. So we're on probably a 10, 15 degree mild slope here. So things tend to go downhill here. I'm hoping that if we get a hard rain, I hope this is going to stay here, but I think it will. I tried to get out of the way of where the water drains down the hill at, so I think we're okay. So like I said, I was just thinking, if I put them close enough, and I did. So another goal is cover as much of your soil as possible, especially when it's going to get hot here in the summer. That's why I think if I plant some corn and get it growing, by the length of the life of these onions, they'll have some shade with the big corn stalks. So that's one row. And I'm also leaving some edge to both of these because we got to figure out the weeds, whether we use an edger or something to try to keep them from growing, because we have a lot of wiregrass, mutagrass, and it'll actually just grow a root right on top of that and get in here. But we'll keep an eye on it. I think we'll be okay. I'd love to look up under there in about a month I'm curious, but anyways. Look at that row. I hope you didn't show that. Oh my gosh. That's all right, it'll grow. It'll grow. I mean, I'm being honest with people too. I just wasn't paying attention. I should have a string marker down, which I usually do when I plant rows, even in my beds, but it'll be okay. So John and I are gonna switch. He wants to plant some of these, or I want him to, save my back. But anyways, we'll show John planting some of them. So as John's getting some more sets to plant, I will tell you, and I followed the instruction that I got with these, and it said, when they came, first thing I opened them up and I said, man, they look rough. But I said the same thing about my strawberries and they turned out great. So anyways, they said that if the tops are damp or moist, dry them off, because you don't want them to get like a mold or, basically moldy. And so what I did is I placed them on my heating mat for 2 hours. I set my timer. And then after the 2 hours was up, I took them and placed them in this bowl over here, right there, as you see. And I just put like a ½ inch of water in there, not very much, just enough to cover the root at the bottom. And then left them for several hours. It wasn't overnight in the water. And it was amazing how much those little tomato sets greened up doing those 2 steps. So they were good instructions. And onions are pretty straightforward. Even, of course, my row is crooked, but other than that, even putting them in the ground, you just make sure they're standing up. Even if they're not standing straight up, most of the time that they'll correct themselves. In fact, they'll correct to the sun, which for us, where Johnny is right now and where we're standing, to his bottom side, to his left, is pretty much south, or southeast, if I want to be exact. Looks good. That looks good. So that's it for the tomato. I keep saying tomatoes, so I have tomatoes on my head. That's it for the onions planting. Our other onions are doing great, and we've shown them in our our tour of our garden. But we'll see how these do, and we'll come back and show you later how the no-till goes. And like I said, in the next couple of days, I'll probably have some corn. I think Silver Queen is what we like. It grows good around this area. And I'll plant some corn around these edges, which we'll see how that grows, and we'll give shade to these onions. So that's it. Get out, get in your garden, or grow something, get out in the yard. It's good for your soul. Have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.